This episode was sponsored by Girls Can Crate, a subscription box inspiring girls to believe that they can be and do anything. Real women make the best heroes, and every month they deliver them to your front door. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Katie.
Question. If you could know the future, would you want to?
Ooh, I think about this a lot.
Oh, yeah? Do tell.
I don't know.
Wow, a lot of thinking got you really far on that one.
Yes. It got me back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and landing on I don't know. Because it would be great to be able to, try to avoid some things. But if science fiction has taught us anything, is that will only make things worse.
Right. But a lot of times we think about things in the past in terms of, if I only knew then what I know now. Yeah. I think of a lot of times I would be less worried or
more worried if you saw impending doom and there was nothing you could do to stop it.
Yeah. But maybe if you could see the future, you wouldn't be anxious.
Yeah.
Maybe if you could see far enough, everything would work out.
Right. Yeah, and then I guess we have to go back to the question of what kind of future are you talking about? Are you doing your ancient history? Do you want to see 4 million years in the future? Or are we talking about, 5 years? Or
kind of, the 4 million years in the future is the one that makes me feel less anxious.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean,
everything will work out.
Everything and everyone I care about will be dead. So
yeah, it's going to be fine.
But 20 years in the future, I think would give me more anxiety than be helpful.
Okay, well, what about this? What if you could ask someone who could see the future?
Ooh.
What if you could ask them just one question?
Ooh.
Would you do that?
Yes. But I would spend 10 years figuring out my question. No.
Yeah, I think deciding the question would be anxiety-inducing.
Yeah. Can I get a team of people and we all decide together, here's our 10 questions, you ask this one, you ask that one, and they build on each other?
If you have unlimited funds, to ask this question is going to require an immense amount of resources. And you'll have to undertake a long and arduous journey up into the mountains by horse or on foot. So we're talking weeks, maybe even months. And you'd have to time it just right because you can only ask the question on the 7th day of each month.
It seems like this is very specific and happened.
Well, you are right. Surprise, surprise. These are the rules of visiting the Pythia, the woman who resided in Apollo's temple in ancient Greece.
Ooh.
Her prophecies, they determined the actions of rulers and generals, colonists, adventurers. In many ways, you could say she was the most powerful individual in the ancient world.
Cool.
And she was an elderly peasant woman, known only as the Pythia, the Oracle of Delphi.
Wow.
I'm Katie Nelson.
And I'm Olivia Mickle.
And this is What's Her Name?
Fascinating women you've never heard of.
So, I've just returned from teaching study abroad in Greece.
Yeah, lucky.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And today I want to take you with me to Delphi. We're going to go into a marvelous shop full of the most beautiful bronze chess sets.
Ooh.
To meet the artist, Dimitrios Georgaras. He is the most remarkable and wonderful person, and he's lived in Delphi for 40 years.
My name is Dimitrios Georgaras. I live here in Delphi 40 years. I born in art. It's a part of Eperos. northwest from here, 300 kilometers across the Ionian Island. Yeah, before here I was in Greek merchant navy, marine navy. So I have traveled all over the world from 10 years like the captain.
Okay, so we're sitting down with Dimitrios inside his shop in the center of town. So you'll hear a bit of the bustle outside.
Cool.
And you can also sometimes hear his motion-censored owl on the wall, which whistles. It goes... when someone comes in the door. But as we found out, it also whistles every time a big bus drives by. So when you hear the whistle, that's what's going on. Fun. He met us with such a warm welcome, and I had some of my students with me. He even served us plates of preserved figs. He preserves them with cloves and almonds every year from the wild fig tree out back.
Ooh.
So good. The reason I wanted to talk to Dimitri specifically is because he has spent decades listening at Delphi. He was drawn there by the spirit of the place, and Delphi is magical. Even today, approaching this small mountain town, you have a real sense that you're entering an otherworldly realm. So what is this place and why is it so special?
Yeah.
Well, since the dawn of civilization, and probably even before that, one particular site at the base of Mount Parnassus has been the seat of God, the divine. Story time.
Yay!
In the beginning, Zeus released 2 eagles, one to the east and one to the west, instructing them to find the center of the universe. After a long search, they both landed at Delphi, and Zeus dropped a rock to mark the spot. It's still there. You can go and see it.
Whoa.
The history and the mythology say the Zeus, the father of gods, from the Olympus mountain. The name in Delphi is the navel of the earth. It means omphalos disease, navel of the earth.
So Delphi is literally the center of the universe to ancient Greeks. They all believed Delphi was this special liminal space where humans could access the divine.
Wow.
And at some point during the Greek Archaic Age, so say around 700 or 800 BCE, an elderly peasant woman, now known only as the Pythia, we don't know her real name, she entered the site and began to speak the voice of the divine. She was channeling God.
Was the Pythia, the oracle, over 50 years old?
And in the beginning, it may have been Gaia that she was channeling, the earth goddess, Gaia, or in Greek, Ia. Later on, the god changed to Apollo.
Apollo came here about 7th century BC. Apollo was the god of sun, the god of music, and the god of harmony. The Greek word is harmonia.
God took lots of forms over time. But the key aspect of God at this special site was that you could ask questions and God would answer through Pythia.
Wow.
She was this woman with a gift of sight. It couldn't be just anybody. It was this special woman who could channel the voice of God. She sat there in the temple on a special tripod, and nobody really knows why, but apparently this tripod was a really important part of the whole process.
Wow.
He stayed on the tripod, Pythia, and give to the customers what's your future, about your country, about your people. Yeah.
So nearly all ancient sources mention Delphi at some point. All ancient sources. So it was a really huge deal to ancient people. And not just Greeks. Powerful people, kings and rulers and generals.
The people, they come from all over the world
They visited from the Middle East and from Africa and probably even from Asia. They all came here to ask their one question and seek their destiny.
Wow.
And to me, what's so remarkable about Pythia, the oracle, is that she was a nobody from nowhere. She's this elderly, uneducated peasant woman with no ties to elite families, no wealth, no power base. And ancient Greece, especially in the Archaic Age and the Classical era, was a very class-divided society. Only the wealthy and the educated had power.
Yeah.
Even in Athens' democratic system, only wealthy white males could be citizens. So it's a radical departure from their norms. Maybe that is what gave her such significance. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Delphi, the site, was also special in that it was set apart from all the Greek city-states. So like Athens, Sparta, Thebes. They were practically independent countries, constantly competing for status and control among each other. There's constant border disputes and wars and stuff like that. But Delphi was a small, isolated town that didn't come under the control of any particular city-state. So in that way, it was uniquely independent and far, far into the mountains. So let's visit the site. Let's imagine that you are some significant figure in the ancient world.
Of course.
And you have a question. Right, you're the queen of, ancient Greece. You'd never be a queen. Let's get real here. You're a king.
All right.
Actually, back then, you had to be a man to visit the oracle. Which is irritating.
Hashtag irony.
Yep. And we'll just be annoyed by that and set it aside.
Yeah.
So you're a man. The journey has taken you weeks or months and all this money you've spent on the journey. And finally, you're at the foot of Mount Parnassus and tucked away up in a crevice, you can see it. Delphi, the center of the universe.
Ooh.
Now, because Pythia was a nobody from nowhere, we don't know any details about her specifically. We don't even know her real name. So the closest we can get right now is to focus this episode on what it was like to visit her. Let's unpack the experience of going on a trek to hear the voice of God.
Yay!
Okay. On the 7th day of the month, and the 7th day only, you gather with all the other pilgrims for the moment of truth. You're going to enter the sanctuary, leave your offerings, and ask your question. Your fate will be changed. What's your question? You got one?
I'm going to go invade a country. Should I invade Thebes?
Very good. Very good question. Okay, your first stop is on the right-hand side of the road, and it is an ancient spring. It's a natural spring coming out of the mountain, but it's been built out into a kind of like rectangular bath, maybe, 10, 15 feet across. And you will step down inside it and bathe in the sacred waters to purify yourself. Pythia herself has done this earlier this morning, out of the view of everyone, before she proceeded up to take her place in the temple. Okay, so now you're pure from the spring. Nowadays, you can't get inside it because that part of the spring isn't full of water, but next to it is a newer spring that you can still drink the waters from. So, magic waters, you better believe I chugged that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
you didn't bring me home any?
Well, I only had a carry-on. So, you know what? Actually, I actually had a water bottle full of it at security. And they took my water bottle away.
Oh.
So I told the security guy, this is magic water. You should take this home. Drink it yourself.
And that's how you got on a flight registry list. This lady tried to poison me.
Okay, so then you enter the sacred way. This is the path leading up to the temple. It kind of zigzags as it climbs up the mountainside, and all along it are very elegant buildings that are shaped like mini temples. Just like, 10 feet high maybe, all along the path. And every one of them is absolutely jammed with treasures. Each one of these little mini temples, they call them treasuries now, they each belong to a different city-state. And so visitors from that city-state added their offerings to their city-state's temple so that it kind of adds to the greatness of their own hometown, right? You're not just going to put your treasures anywhere. You're going to say this treasure is from Athens because Athens is the best.
Right.
So as you ascended the sacred way, your mind would boggle at the scale of the beauty and just the sheer display of wealth everywhere. We're talking like thousands of priceless works of art.
Wow.
And glittering gold and silver everywhere. Statues by the thousands.
Wow.
And what's kind of amazing is that scholars have actually mapped out with surprising detail the specific items you would have seen as you walked. They're not there anymore. Nothing is there anymore but ruins of the treasuries. But I'm amazed how much they know about like specific items in every single place.
Wow.
So to give you an example of what kinds of things to imagine, King Croesus of Lydia, he sent a solid gold lion that weighed 150 pounds.
Wow.
And it sat on a pyramid of 117 bricks of white gold. Manolis Andronicus, who's a professor of archaeology in Greece, he says the treasures you would have seen along the path, quote, were beyond anything the boldest imagination might conceive.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And inside Athens' treasury, we actually have some of the oldest written music in human history. 2 hymns were written on the walls. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
So what we have here along the sacred way is quite possibly the world's first museum. You have all the finest and most amazing artifacts, even the most sacred music of the people, all laid out, organized by city-states for visitors to marvel at. It's all for display. So it's a museum, the world's first.
Wow.
Okay, so we passed all the treasuries and we're approaching the temple itself. And I'm sure you're crazy nervous at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's this large altar in front of the temple. It's so large it has its own steps. You climb up the steps to the altar, and this is where you're going to leave your sacrifice. A goat is pretty typical. Did you bring your goat?
I did.
Okay, good.
Of course.
Okay, place it on the altar. This goat is going to tell us whether you're even allowed to ask your question.
Oh.
Okay, so
I might donate all that stuff and not even get to ask my question?
Indeed.
Oh.
Yes. You might have undertaken a 2-month journey and donated all that stuff, but depending on the actions of this goat, you can ask your question or not. Okay, so your goat's still alive, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, you place it on the altar. Priests are now going to come out with a bowl of cold water, and they sprinkle it on the goat from head to toe. Then we watch. If the goat shudders from head to toe, then we're good to go. If not, we're turned away, and that's that. God doesn't want to answer a question today.
Those priests are just gonna not have cold enough water when they don't want to deal with me.
Aha. You're reading this like a modern, cynical, scientifically minded person, though.
Sorry.
But yes, the priests could choose the temperature of the water in the bowl and then turn people away if they wanted to.
Wow.
But it's the gods. It's the gods.
Right.
Okay. The goat shivered. Yay!
now let's pause for a word from our sponsor.
Girls Can Crate is an awesome subscription box that introduces girls age 5 to 10 to real, fearless women who made the world better.
Every crate features an inspiring woman, a 28-page activity book, plus everything you would need to complete 2 or 3 hands-on STEAM activities and more.
And if you're on a budget, they have mini crates too.
Real women make the best heroes, and every month, Girls Can Crate delivers them.
For What's Her Name podcast listeners, we have a special discount code for you.
You'll get 20% off your first month's crate, any subscription that you order. Girls Can Crate, CRATE.com.
And use the code HERNAME to get 20% off. We ascend the steps of the massive temple. I mean, it's massive. There are huge columns holding up this huge porch. And then you go through the inner door, and it leads into this big rectangular space. Classic Greek temple, like picture the Parthenon. All Greek temples are basically that same shape. So you're ushered in. You get to ask your question. But you don't get to like walk up to Pythia and say, "Hey, Pythia, I'd like to ask my question."
Yeah.
You step into the temple, you ask your question, and then you have to wait in the corner. The corner just to the right of the door, and you can go no further. So you just like tuck yourself away in the corner. And Pythia, she's in the back of the temple, hidden behind some kind of partition. But you can hear her. And you can see vapors emanating from that part of the temple.
It was like the spring, and from the earth smells like methane.
Yeah.
Methane.
Yeah.
So priests walk back to attend her and listen to what she has to say. They write down her answer, and then they bring it to us, and we leave. And now we know our destiny. We have received the voice of God.
Wow.
And amazingly, the answer is written in hexameter verse. Did you know that God speaks in hexameter verse?
No, but that seems right.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, we could hear Pythia while we were in the temple, you know. We could tell she was not speaking in hexameter verse. She wasn't even speaking in Greek. She was speaking unintelligible babble. I mean, it sounded like babble to us, but the voice of the divine would be unintelligible to mere humans.
Right, of course.
So thank goodness we have the priests to translate for us.
Oh, we're very lucky.
So this is where it gets fascinating.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, Pythia is the most powerful person in the ancient world because the most powerful people in the world change their course of their actions based on what she says.
Right.
But what we really have here is a very strong male filter. It's only male priests who attend the temple, and they are the ones who translate what she said and write it down in hexameter verse and then give the answers to the people.
Wow. And how do these priests get chosen?
Yes, they're highly educated and they all come from wealthy, powerful families. Yeah. Probably it wasn't always that way. I bet back at the very beginning, like pre-Archaic Age Greece, I bet there was a Pythia who just spoke the voice of God.
Oh, sure. I mean, it had to have been more and more, I am the great and powerful Ozified.
Yes. In fact, there is a story of how the priests came to the temple, which Dimitrios tells. It's kind of hard to understand his accent here, so I'll do a bit of my words and his words mixed together.
Translating?
I know. Maybe I'll add my female filter.
When the Apollo came here in Delphi, he needs the people to service the temple. And then it's going down to the sea in Corinthian Gulf. he see the ship come to Corinthian Gulf.
Some sailors from Crete were sailing across the Mediterranean, and Apollo took the form of a dolphin.
How they say metamorphonome? He makes
Metamorphosis.
metamorphosis, a dolphin.
And appeared to them in their boat.
And he's going up to the ship, and all the crew, they scare very much what's happened. The dolphin of the boat. And he say, I'm the Apollo, don't worry.
And said, stop being sailors, come to Delphi, to this mountain town, and attend me at my temple. And they came, and they've been there ever since.
Wow.
But yeah, so what we've got in the archaic age, ancient Greece was a very sexist place, and we've got a male filter, and they've taken control, they've organized the whole situation there. They have the woman who is the voice of God, but then they're like, we better make sure there aren't any misunderstandings about what she said. And so they write down the answers in hexameter verse. Incidentally, the experience we're having now is the experience that only rich and powerful people could have, right? Because you're the king of somewhere.
Right.
If you were just an average Joe and you wanted to ask the oracle at Delphi something, you weren't allowed to present yourself and ask a specific question and get a specific answer. But you can ask a yes or no question. And the priests have a kind of bowl with two different colors of stones, and you reach in and you pull out a stone, and that's your answer.
Wow.
Dark means yes, light means no.
Wow.
Okay, so what were these vapors emanating from the back of the temple?
Yeah.
And why couldn't we see Pythia ourselves? What's really going on here?
Yeah.
These are questions historians have enjoyed for centuries. There are lots of different and fascinating theories that have been produced about how the oracle produced her answers, because there's so many different interesting pieces of the puzzle here. She's sitting on this tripod stool, and for some reason that's really important. And we know there are vapors. We know you can't see her, and we know she is like babbling this incomprehensible but constant stream of sounds.
Yeah.
Some people have produced very rational scientific answers. And some people have produced very mystical, magical answers. On the one hand, it's important and it's fascinating to me because I love to see how we can unpick this experience based on what clues we have today.
Yeah.
For example, geologists have recently confirmed that the temple actually sits atop the intersection of two fault lines. So it is conceivable that a cleft in the earth actually emitted vapors from deep in the earth. And some people think maybe even these had hallucinogenic properties.
Right.
And if you sat right on top of them and breathed them for a while, you would start to have visions and start to speak in tongues. Or, who knows? So maybe that's why you had to stand in the far corner. So you never got too close to the fumes, because you don't want to be breathing in those fumes. Only she can breathe in the fumes.
Right.
But on the other hand, I can also appreciate that we don't need to pick apart the mechanics of the situation to appreciate the real importance of the site, which is that every visitor really, really believed that they were speaking to God, and the answers they received changed the course of their lives.
Yeah.
Over time, Delphi became famous also for the inscriptions on the walls at the entrance to the temple. There were 4 very famous ones, and in ancient Greece, these were so well known that they became common phrases, like everybody knew them. Inscription number 1, a big letter E, epsilon, Just a giant letter E.
All right.
It's very mysterious. It had been there since the very beginning, like so far back that even the ancient Greeks had no idea what it meant.
Wow.
Only that it had always been there.
Wow.
Even ancient Greek and Roman scholars had ideas about what it was, but it remains an enigma. We'll probably never be able to say for sure what it means.
Huh.
So that's inscription number 1. Inscription number 2, nothing too much, as in moderation in all things. And that was one of the most popular Greek values.
That's hilarious in this context.
Because of the treasury?
Giant piles of treasure. But moderation.
Right. Just enough.
Just a 150-pound gold lion. Not anything. Not like 200-pound gold
not
lion.
Too much. Yeah. Okay, inscription number 3. I like this one. Surety, then ruin. As in, once you are sure, then that's when everything falls apart.
Wow. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So question yourself constantly. And that actually ties in with the last one, the most famous of all. Know thyself.
Oh.
Gnothi seuton in ancient Greek. It became so famous, Socrates is famous for this being the thing that he emphasized in all of his teachings.
I thought Socrates made it up.
Well, no, it's from Delphi. But this idea to turn inward and dig deep, figure out why you believe what you do, how you became who you are, what drives you. This was one of the most important steps toward enlightenment in the ancient Greek world, because really nobody lies to you better than you do. And the root of all your suffering and all your misunderstanding in life, it's your own self. It's misunderstanding your motives and who you are and why you are the way you are. So, gnothi seuton, know thyself, it's the first step to enlightenment. It's the first step toward the divine. According to Dimitrios, this is the spirit of Delphi itself. It's the foundation of harmony, armonia. So the last god who resided at the temple at Delphi was Apollo. He's the god of music and harmony. Is the spirit of Apollo still here in Delphi?
It is. I feel this spirit every day, 40 years. It's the place, mysterious. It's a place, imagined place. But you must have to go here to expect it. This energy, and to feel that.
Today, Dimitrios spends his days casting beautiful works of art. Sand casting is the ancient Greek method of metalworking, where you create a mold with sand, then you pour bronze into the sand to create the figure. And he does this ancient method, and he makes bronze chess sets and statues of Athena, replicas of ancient Greek artifacts. His shop is a wonder, and his work is beautiful and unique. Pythia, the woman who visited the site at the beginning and began speaking the word of God, she was the one who started it all. But of course, the sanctuary at Delphi persisted through the centuries, and Pythia had to pass on her gifts to the next generation. So we don't know the selection process, but new Pythia replaced the old, and then the name became a position. And at its busiest times, there were maybe 3 or 4 Pythia at Delphi.
Oh.
The sanctuary was destroyed and rebuilt at least 3 times. Fire, earthquakes, wars, they all took their toll, but the people of the ancient world, and not just Greece, like all across the ancient world, they always came forward with money and resources to rebuild it again and again. But it had to end sometime.
After many, many years, the Roman came here. Roman.
With the rise of Christianity, there was no one left who was interested in the old pagan gods, especially once Greece was part of the Roman Empire and Rome became an officially Christian empire. It's quite possible that Christians actively raided and destroyed the site, as they did in many other places. And we do know that Constantine came and he grabbed a bunch of the most precious items and took them away to Constantinople.
I think in 394 after Christ, the king of Byzantine, Theodosius, closed the oracle.
But some of the most precious things do survive in the museum there. Wow. Some think it was an earthquake in the 300s.
It has a big earthquake in Corinthian Gulf, and this earthquake closed the gap in the earth that the vapors were emanating from. But one romantically minded emperor, Roman Emperor Julian, he decided to send a delegate to Delphi to see if he could still access divine guidance. And the Pythia there uttered her final oracle. Dimitrios, of course, knows it by heart in ancient Greek. And the last Christmas, I know in Greek very well, but not in English.
Oh, please say it in Greek.
Yeah, really?
And English, yes, please
And
do.
then in English. Είπατε το βασίλει, χαμέ πέσε δέδαλος. Φίβος ουκέστη καλύβα. Ουλ άλλον είδωρ απέσβετο. This in English. Tell to the king.
Tell ye the king.
The carven horse is.
The carven hall is fallen into decay.
Apollo had no chapel left.
Apollo hath no chapel left.
No professing bay.
No prophesying bay.
No talking spring. The stream is dry.
No talking spring. The stream is dry.
And had no much to say.
And had so much to say. The link was broken. God would speak no more through the temple at Delphi. But Dimitrios still hears the spirit of Delphi through its artifacts and through the earth there, through the wind. The Delphi Archaeological Museum that houses what's left of the incredible artifacts from the sanctuary, he has been there 1,000 times.
Wow.
And he says, I listen, I sit with a statue, I sit with an artifact, and I listen for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So cool.
Those years, I have been in a museum over 1,000 times. You believe it?
Here?
Museum Delphi.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Why?
And, it's something for my soul, for my spirit, to be better and better every day. Now I can speak with the Sphinx of the museum, with the charity of the museum. We start the cross, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we contact with those famous statues.
And you can hear the spirit of Delphi also through the music, through the harmony. Since we've discovered now the actual musical notation from the ancient world preserved in places like the Athenian treasury, we can hear the harmony of the past. Would you like to hear an arrangement of the oldest known complete melody?
Yes.
I thought you might, and so I have come prepared. It's an ancient Greek epitaph inscribed on a tomb, a song that a man named Psycholos wrote for his departed wife.
Oh.
It's a haunting melody and a powerful voice from the distant past. And it has been arranged here beautifully by the musician Sam Henderson.
Cool.
He sings the lyrics in both ancient Greek and English.
Oh.
The English lyrics sound as modern as it gets. Like, I would believe that this was written today, but it is the oldest known melody. Here's the English translation of the lyrics that you'll hear in the song. While you live, shine. Have no fear nor grief at all. Life's only here for a short while. Remember that time will take its toll. Tell us about harmony. How did you achieve it?
Harmony. It's so difficult, so difficult. At first, every one of them, you must know ourselves.
Yes.
It's very important.
Γνώθησε αυτόν.
Γνώθησε αυτόν.
Φιλοσοφία.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Γνώθησε αυτό. And then you start to feel peace and quiet day by day. After that, you have the harmony.
You hear it.
Yeah, if you have the harmony, you are happy. Very happy.
At Delphi, you can feel the passage of time and the profound echoes of the deep past. The ancient world it's both so far away and so immediate at the same time. And maybe it's harmony, armonia, that unites everything.
Our songs is funny, medinolos libu, prosolilon estitos en totelos okronos apaiten.
Special thanks to Dimitrios Georgaras, whose shop is Poseidon Workshop in Delphi. Next time you're in Greece, stop by and say hi. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where we'll post pictures of Poseidon's workshop, the site at Delphi, and all kinds of good stuff. Music for this episode included the Psycholos Epitaph, arranged by Sam Henderson, which you can download on our website, What'sHerNamePodcast.com. You can also find links to the ancient lyre music we featured here, recorded by lyre specialist Michael Levy. You can find his many ancient Greek lyre albums on music servers everywhere or on his website, ancientlyre.com. We are so grateful for the support of all of our sponsors. Special shout out to Debbie Farthing, Jessie Bray Sharpen, Andrea Ferguson, and Chantel Oliver. You can become a sponsor for as little as $1 a month, and participating at different levels gets you lots of different prizes. This episode was edited with assistance from Daniel Foster Smith and Mark Nelson, and What's Her Name podcast is produced by Katie Nelson and Olivia Mickle. Thank you for listening.
This episode is sponsored by The Process, a creative docuseries. Filmmaker Daniel Foster Smith interviews artists, makers, and other creatives to understand how they move through the artistic process and overcome creative blocks. Go to danielfostersmith.com and start streaming episodes today.